Plus, she also told me tonight, when you give out the thank yous, make sure you thank your lovely wife for putting up with all your shit for 40 years.
Mary! Mary!
And she did say it just like that, and I told her I was going to say that. I got a few notes here. Hold on a minute. I don't want to screw this up.
Coach, stand up, Coach.
That's good. I can't see. All right. I don't know when I heard this or who said it to me, but I've always remembered it. Guy said, surround yourself with good people and then get out of the way and let them do their jobs. And that's what I did. I surrounded myself with some good people. In the beginning, it was Coleman Kiley and Bobby Joseph were my assistants. Coleman Kiley followed me up to the high school when I took over. We did a lot of good things up there in those first couple of years. And I got it started, and we won some FCX, and we were good, but we weren't statewide good. And then a young man by the name of John Nimock came into the game.
Hey, John.
And the first thing he said to me was, let's dare to be successful. And then he put me in a car and took me to Pennsylvania. There was a write-up yesterday in the paper, it was very nice, but they left that part out. It was John Nimock, who was the we that went to Pennsylvania. And we saw people doing things there that our varsity kids weren't doing. And we came back and we decided that we were going to build a program. We threw everything out and started over. We got a hold, I went up and talked to Bob Ryerson, who was the park and rec director, and I told him what we wanted to do, and he gave me some money to pay coaches. John went over and talked to the PAL people, Kevin Barry, and they jumped on board with us.
Is this live on Facebook?
We originally wanted to put a mat in every elementary school, but that didn't prove to be logistically sound. So we came out with 5 different elementary school programs, and Daiwa was born. We got a hold of Andy Levitt and Brian Fielding and a few other parents, and we put on golf tournaments, we made money, we bought mats. Other programs around the state wanted to get in on our elementary school program, and so we had a league. We practiced 2 nights a week, and we had matches on Thursdays. And that's how we got started, folks. We had a program. But it was Nimock who started recruiting Levitt, Appel, McNamara, King, just to name a few. These were all state champions, and John was the one who brought them on.
Ticket winning numbers.
John, please come up here.
Yeah, John.
Thanks, Coach. I missed you guys. I first met Mike Morris when we coached against each other at the junior high level way back when. We had contracted to have a dual meetup at Rogers Park between our teams, so I loaded up my junior high school wrestlers and we journeyed north. When we arrived for the match, I was introduced to Mike, who was in the middle of running drills for his wrestlers, like the Marine he was, and I asked him where the weigh-in would be, and his response was, "What weigh-in? Coach, we don't need a weigh-in. I know what my wrestlers weigh." Well, that may have been true or not, but it appeared as if the Danbury kids were about 5 to 10 pounds heavier than mine. Anyway, I really had no recourse, so I agreed to the match without a weigh-in, and we matched kids up by weight class. The match was held in what used to be the Rogers Park Wrestling Room. There was no circle, there was no out of bounds, except the walls. And Coach Morris thought it was a great idea to coach his kids from just above them, so he'd walk onto the mat and just signal to them what to do. Compounding difficulties for my team was the ref, the inimitable Ted Hines, who whenever Coach Morris would yell 2 points or whatever, he would look at Mike and say, 2 points. And protests were not allowed by Mr. Hines, as you may remember. Anyway, it was a kind of nightmare for us. My wrestlers lost in a close match, and I vowed never to return to that room again. Little did I know that that room was my future. What I liked about that day was the intensity of the Danbury kids. They were tough, blue-collar, and well-drilled on the mats. They looked like they would run through a wall for Mike if he asked them to, and they gave my team a really competitive match, which is what we were looking for. A couple of years later, when the junior high school program became available, Mike called me and recruited me for the job. And after my many demands for the team, like having a combined team with Broadview, etc., were turned down by the AD, Norm Winterman, Mike again interceded and insisted that I be hired. And thanks to that intervention, I became the Danbury wrestling coach. And on the first day of practice, Mike delivered me 40 great athletes from all over Danbury. It soon became clear, though, that our team, while well drilled on the mat at the high school level and well conditioned, lacked the skills on their feet to compete. And to Mike's credit, he bought into what needed to be done. I went to countless clinics and camps to improve myself as a coach, and Mike began to teach the techniques that we learned together. And gradually that talent seeped upward to the varsity level. I remember a year or two in going with Mike to scout NFA and Wyndham in a quad. Now at that time, those teams were the powerhouse teams in the state. They were really skilled on their feet, they were physical, they were really intimidating. And Danbury High School had most recently lost the dual meet to NFA by the score of something like 54-3. Mike turned to me and asked me how we'd ever beat those teams, and I just told him all we needed to do was wait a little while. And so we worked together, and soon enough, when our skill level on our feet improved, and when we got more physical, we drew even with those teams. The turning point was our first Berlin Duels, which at the time was the premier dual meet tournament in the state. We wrestled Wyndham in the semifinals. Teddy McNamara dropped their kid Jenkins, their defending New England champion, Jenkins, who'd been pointing at us and swearing at us all day. He dropped him on his head. No penalty was called because it was so loud in that room that the ref couldn't hear the slam. And Teddy put him on his back, beat him, and we pinned the next 6 kids in a row.
Awesome.
And then in the finals we met Berlin, who had upset NFA. In the other semifinal, we beat them soundly. And that was the turning point in Connecticut for Danbury wrestling. It took a few years for us to dominate those teams, but gradually we did that. In the meantime, Mike and I established DIWA and also got support from the PAL, and thanks in large part to Kevin Barry, I wish you were here tonight, and began the process of buying and delivering those mats that he was speaking about. We advertised like crazy, and eventually we got the vote out. While I was coaching the junior high, I had some great help from 2 guys, Mike Morris Jr. and Mark Tola. These guys kept me on an even keel and kept me from being over serious and over intense, and each provided valuable balance and human insight into how kids learn. Each is a terrific role model. And from Mike Morris Sr., the grandfather of Danbury wrestling, I also learned how to be a team player and how to be a better coach and a better human being. I owe a ton to all those guys. Okay, not much more. And then there's Ricky. Ricky had graduated just before I started coaching in Danbury, so Mike thought it would be a great idea for us to go up to Central to see Ricky wrestle in a college dual meet. It wasn't his best day, as he got stuck, and he really didn't want to talk about it much after the match, but at least we've been introduced. When I succeeded Mike Morris as the varsity coach, Ricky had already been assistant coach under him and graciously stepped aside to be my assistant. And I can tell you, from all those years of working side by side with Ricky, that no one is better in the practice room and nobody's better mat side during a tournament or a match than Ricky. I knew I could trust him to make all the right calls every time. So when I left Danbury Wrestling, I knew he was in good hands going forward. I loved coaching with Ricky. I even loved the bus rides to and from the matches, during which we commiserated and talked about strategy and how to get our guys better. I loved how he kept the room light with his unique brand of humor and how he could tilt anyone in the room, including visiting all-stars from other teams during practices for the New Englands. That tilting skill remains alive in Kevin Jack and countless others, and I'm so deeply proud of the job Ricky and the others have done since my days here, taking the team to new levels of success regionally and nationally. I remember each year telling the high school team about the burden and the privilege of being a Danbury wrestler. The burden is that you have a lot to live up to, And the privilege is that you get to wrestle for the best team in the state. Just look at the banners on the wall. Finally, I just want to say that you measure a program's success by its longevity of success. And it's said that you're only as good as what you leave behind. I feel that each of us, from Mike Morris on down, has left behind a solid legacy and a strong tradition and a singular reputation for excellence in the program. I left Danbury Wrestling, but Danbury Wrestling never left me. It's in my heart always and always will be. Thank you so much for honoring our program tonight.
One last thing for me, I wanted to say this for a while. I got things started, this is true, but John Nimock put us on the map in the state of Connecticut, and Ricky made us famous. All right? Thank you, folks. Good night.
Thank you.